Great, thank you. So at this time, what we'll need is either you can nominate yourself, nominate another member, but we'll need a chair and a vice chair, and then a motion, a second, and then a vote after that.
I'd like to put myself forward as chair. If it's okay. I'd love to give a few reasons about why I think I could do a good job as the chair. If that's okay. I've been on the TAC since its formation, and I've been to nearly every meeting, and I have a very good understanding of how committee functions, what's worked well for us in the past, and where we've struggled. I was also the vice chair, and I have a good understanding of Robert's Rules of Order, so I understand meeting procedure, and I believe I can run our meetings effectively and keep them on track. And then lastly, I'll make sure that everybody's heard in our meetings, that everybody gets a chance to comment, whether you're on the committee or you're a member of the public. And then I'd like to encourage transparency by talking to our city contractors, by questioning them, by having open dialogue and lots of discussion. So if you choose me as your chair, I promise I will work as effectively as I can to guide our committee. Yeah. Thank you. If anybody has any questions for me, but sorry. Thank you so much.
Any other nominations?
I'd like to nominate myself for chairperson.
Okay. Any others?
I'll make a nomination for Vashti Wilson.
Okay.
Do I do I need to say? Well, I'm going to second Tracy's nomination. I don't know if that's how exactly it works. I do have an extensive background in leading teams and leading teams successfully. I think most people that know me here know that I'm very direct and I'm very honest, but I'm also very fair and objective. And I operate with integrity. And I think in on a council like this, that my educational and professional background are well suited to not only lead with the team, but also to know the intricacies of what it is that we're looking for on both sides, both as a business owner, as a parent, as a kind of new recruit to the area, if you will, and as someone who has the time and the schedule to be able to do what is needed to help lead this team.
Any other nominations? Would anyone?
Can I nominate Alexander for co-chair?
Sure.
Is that vice chair?
Vice chair, yeah.
I'd like to nominate Alexander. Knowing him and his work ethic, and the fact that he served before, I do think he is teachable, and I love his enthusiasm.
Thank you.
Any other nominations? Is there a motion? Oh, okay. Okay, so the motion would be then Vashti as chair, and then do we?
Just that one.
Just the one, okay.
So all in favor? For Vashti as chair.
Aye.
Four?
Any opposed? Seeing none? Passes 4. So
I don't vote, right?
yeah.
Oh, I vote. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we have 5-4 and 2 abstaining, or
What happened?
Yeah, that
Yeah.
I thought it was supposed to be,
Yeah,
first you do the chairman,
that's
and
what
then
we're
you
doing.
vote for that, and then you're gonna do the second one.
We're not doing the vice chair at all.
Okay. So I know, but you didn't announce who the people were again, you just went through that.
Sorry, we had a first from Alex. We also had a first from Vashti. We had a second from Vashti. Now, when you have
Okay.
a first and a second, then you go to vote.
Okay.
So, and did we hear from everyone? I think Cheryl asked and we did, or did we not?
So let's do this again. So motion for Vashti to be the chair for the TAC. All in favor? Aye. So that's 1, 2, 3,
5.
5.
And opposed? Abstained? Okay, so 5, 2 abstain.
Okay, so now for vice chair. We had one motion for Alex.
Do we have another motion?
I'll second that motion.
Second for Alex. All in favor? 6-1. Opposed? Motion passes 6-1.
Thank you both. So moving on to 4B. Before we get into the other items, I just again want to let everyone know that I had Abbey Agency speak as well as the Visitor Center come. These are two of the major contracts that fall under the marketing and tourism budget. So most of our money is spent between these two contracts. So I thought we could hear from both of them so you guys can get to know them a little bit better as well. So.
Did you already do public communications?
Oh, non-agenda
Oh,
items. So
yeah.
do we need to do it for
You're
4A?
right, we did. We did.
You already did it?
No, we didn't.
No, we did
need
not.
to do it
Okay.
for 4A.
Yeah, okay. I'm just here for that part, so
Which one?
public communications not on the agenda?
Oh, we did pass
We
it.
did do that,
You did?
yes.
My apologies. Came in a minute late.
Okay, so moving on to 4B, a discussion to receive the Abbey Agency report. So for, I believe Connie's probably
Hello,
over through Zoom.
good afternoon. Can you guys hear me all right?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. I will share my screen, but before I do that, it is so wonderful to see so many of you on the TAC going into this year. Congratulations to the new members, as well as chair and co-chair. We're excited to have you on board. For those who don't know me or the Abbey Agency, my name is Connie Anderson. I am the Abbey Agency's strategy officer, as well as a partner. I've been very involved in working with Solvang throughout the entirety of our contract, which is just about 6 months in now. And Allie Stemmen is on the phone with me. She is our brand manager who supports in day-to-day management of the account. We're supported by a whole office of 40 individuals. So they pop in and out as we present different creative concepts, go over paid media plans. They're all experts in destination marketing and management across the West Coast. I wanted to reiterate, I'm always available if there's any questions or needs or comments. Feel free to email me or call me or go through Cheryl and ask those, and we'll be responsive in getting back any information to you. And then if you would ever like to meet, I travel to Solvang frequently and I plan to be there at our March meeting. So if you'd like to meet before then or after, please let me know. I'm always available. Okay, I'm going to share my screen now, and we are going to talk through the report that is in your packet already. So we wanted to share kind of an overview of where we've been at and how we got here as an agency and then working with Solvang. So as a reminder, the TAC put together an RFP with an overview of services that was requested of an agency, and that happened in spring of 2022. Our team responded to that, and in that response developed a draft marketing plan as well as creative concepts that were presented to the TAC at the time during the pitch process, and then further presented again after the selection of us as the agency. We have worked to refine the messaging and approach with the input of Cheryl as well as the TAC. So the scope of work you'll see in front of you and the responsibilities were outlined in that initial contract from the TAC last year. So the goals and objectives overall that were discussed and agreed to are what we consider our monthly or daily KPIs, and these are key performance indicators, something that we're always keeping an eye on to make sure that these are driving towards our overall goals and objectives. But those key performance indicators are our website impressions, earned media impressions, earned media message pull-through, organic social media engagement, paid media impressions, and then click-through rates for both our organic as well as our paid posts. Overall, these key performance indicators are really driving towards two main objectives to help support the City of Solvang's overall goals. And those objectives are to increase visitation during the shoulder season, as well as increase visitation during midweek travel. You'll see here that our primary goals and all of our content and our campaigns are meant to support these three items. The first is positioning Solvang as the ideal destination for travelers who appreciate and focus on history, culture, and food and beverage. We know that there's many outdoor recreation opportunities, that there's new technology opportunities with the VR business in town. So we want to also branch out, but we really want to kind of target some of these key areas as well. We want to make sure our second goal is that we are increasing the economic performance of the City of Solvang with elevated visitor stays across midweek and slower seasons. Again, the goal of that is that we're driving more sales tax and TOT tax for businesses within Solvang. And then, as I mentioned earlier, that supporting goal is diversifying experience and activities that visitors are aware of. So while you know that they may be aware of certain activities, we want to make sure that they understand really the depth and breadth of things that they can do in the City of Solvang. Our secondary goals that you'll see here are agreed to in the marketing plan is that we want to increase awareness through advertising as well as social media engagement. Organic reach is very critical in this day and age. Our secondary goal was to break into younger audience segments. Our third is position Solvang as modern and accessible as a destination. Fourth is increasing the number of website visitors. Fifth is overall engagement on social media and website channels. So that means time on page, how many pages they're going to, making sure that, and on social media that they're engaging with multiple posts. They're not just seeing the information and then leaving. And then six, we want to make sure that Solvang has its own brand within Santa Ynez Valley. Our target audience that was agreed to in the marketing plan, we have two target audiences. Our primary target audience is Los Angeles, as well as Bakersfield, and that's the designated marketing area. So that's a term that describes the geographic boundaries of those areas. Specifically, those areas do include Orange County, Riverside, Ventura, and Los Angeles, and San Bernardino counties. The goal of that when we target that audience is we want to make sure that we're encouraging them to extend their length of trip, to come midweek since they are close, and then also to encourage them to come during the off season when maybe they aren't used to traveling to Solvang. And then our second target audience is the Bay Area, as well as Fresno and Central California area. The goal is to grow a new segment of travelers from those areas to Solvang. The benefit of targeting those areas is, of course, they are a longer drive away, so we know that they'll stay longer and spend more money in the destination since they'll be here longer. Overall, you'll see here that we work very collaboratively with Cheryl, and it's been great to have her in this internal marketing role and working collaboratively together. You'll see overall here is kind of how we divvy up our functions and our responsibilities day to day. But the items that the Abbey Agency is scoped in the contract to cover from that initial RFP is to do annual creative concepting as well as paid media that's targeted to those target audiences focused above, again, on very much driving overnight visitors, both in shoulder season as well as midweek. We're focused on website updates. That includes new landing pages for campaigns, making sure that the paid advertising aligns with pages on the website, and that the website we are working on SEO optimization. We also are scoped to do quarterly and annual reports to the TAC. We do monthly reports now, and we have implemented a online reporting dashboard, which has real-time information, which I'll show you in just a few moments. We're also contracted for social media management, which includes both Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And then finally, we're scoped for public relations, outreach, and management. So that area is focused on getting the good news about Solvang out to key media in those drive and fly markets, as well as nationally, to encourage media to cover Solvang and write about it, because all of that helps with both word of mouth, and then also increases SEO, because we include links in our pitches, our press releases, and then those stories, so that consumers are coming back to the Solvang website. We have an annual content calendar that we work with Cheryl on, but here is just a brief overview of the first quarter of 2023 and what we've been focused on. But you see that we focus on different PR story angles. And then we even break down a little bit more the PR message, trying to include terms that are highly searched, as well as terms and key messages that are important to Solvang. And then you'll see here who we're targeting with those key messages. And then you'll see different themes for social media that we focus on each month. And then we also collaborate with Visit California each month on doing a collaborative pitch together that includes Solvang. Creative, we'll talk about this a little bit here. The Abby agency has taken over the management of solvangusa.com. The website is very antiquated, built on a content management system, so a back-end system that is very out of date, like over 10 years out of date. So there's a lot of limitations in the back end of what we can do. And then through the transfer to our site, the old team didn't send documentation about how to update the site. So it has presented a challenge to some key updates we would like to make to the homepage, such as putting the new logo on, updating some information to like the phone number so that it's correct. So we're working with our development team as well as Cheryl on those updates. However, we have launched a what we like to call a landing page for the paid media ads, and it looks like what you see on your screen here. That way, when we drive people to a home page or a landing page from the paid media ads, they are getting more relevant and aligned content that aligns with the ads. So that's what this looks like. And we would also like to eventually make this the homepage of solvangusa.com, and we're actively working towards that. There were two different design options for this presented to the TAC last year, and this was the preferred option that the TAC voted to move forward with. Here, this concept that you'll see in front of you is what our digital advertising looks like for Solvang right now. This was presented in the initial presentation process, as well as to the TAC throughout. The directive at the time was to align with the videos that Cogs and Marvel had already produced, because those hadn't gone into market yet. So there was a desire to create something that was consistent to that, so that those videos could be used in advertising, and those dollars didn't go to waste. Both the videos and these advertisements have a creative direction that one might call Wes Anderson's style. It's kind of a quirky and perspective and point of view. And so the videos in this campaign align to that. This is stock imagery. There was not a photo library built up by the city of Solvang, the TAC, when we came into this account. So we have been working with Cheryl to build that up. And we are in March going to be doing a full photo shoot. And in that photo shoot, we will be focusing on much more realistic Solvang images. We'll be focusing on diversity in imagery as well to show off the diversity of Solvang, and then also to help encourage new and diverse audiences to come to Solvang. Our team presented a few different photographic styles and different photographers to Cheryl, and we worked with her to identify the photographer that we feel provides the best step forward in creating a really good imagery library, and that image library will set the stage for a new campaign shortly that we will again present to the TAC and then push that live. Linked or shown here is the reporting dashboard. Cheryl has a login to this, and so she can see it regularly. And what this dashboard does is you'll see that at the top it has each of the tactics of where our advertising is running, such as Google SEM, Google Display, YouTube, as well as Pinterest. And then it also has an overview of the Google Analytics website traffic. So in each of those tabs, there is information about the impressions, clicks, click-through rate. You can compare different dates, look at a quarter at a time, a month at a time. And so that's something that our team looks at regularly, and then Cheryl also looks at. And that is an overview of what we have worked on with the TAC to date. And we're very excited to continue working with the TAC moving forward. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Do the members have questions, comments?
What was the, can you go back to the previous slide, please, with the data that you presented?
Yes.
Sorry, I know you stopped sharing your screen, so.
No worries. I can't see you and share my screen at the same time, so I wanted to be able to see you, but happy to.
Was that, it's a little bit far away, is that 11 cents cost per click?
Yes, this was for the month of December, and this is aggregated spend of all, or that's, sorry, this is for SEM throughout the month of December. So we had 58,000, just over 58,000 impressions, 14,000 clicks, which is a click-through rate of 25.49%, which is well over industry standard. And then our cost per click was 11 cents. The average cost per 1,000 was $27.59.
How does that cost per click compare to industry rates?
It's very much on standard for industry rates.
Okay, thank you for going back.
You said the cost per click of $27.59 is the industry standard?
That's the cost per 1,000, the CPM.
Right. And is that at or above industry standard?
I can go confirm and get that question back to you. I don't know off the top of my head.
Will you please, because when I looked it up, it's more than twice industry standard, which is around $12 for a good CPM. So would you confirm that, please?
Absolutely.
Okay. Can we go back to your slide with the goals and objectives? I have some questions.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Is it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes. So goals and objectives, one of them, primarily the increase in visitation during shoulder season and midweek. How are you keeping track of that? How do we know that if there's been an increase and that was driven by your tactics?
So the city of Solvang reports lodging data by month. It's about a month behind or 2 months behind. And so we, on a quarterly basis, review that. We'll be reviewing that data with Cheryl to both look at our marketing efforts throughout the previous quarter, and then we'll look at the lodging data from the city of Solvang at that quarter. We have presented to this TAC, and there are certainly opportunities in future to bring in a partner, such as a cell phone tracking data partner, where we can see if we served ads to an individual and then they came in to the city of Solvang city limits. So that is one opportunity to get even more sophisticated in reporting. And then another opportunity to get more sophisticated in reporting is to work with all of the lodging providers in the city of Solvang to track from the Solvang USA website to their website to do cross-domain tracking and see if we drove people from Solvang USA into those lodging partner websites, and then if they booked through those lodging partner websites.
Okay, so, and it's Connie, right?
Yes.
So I understand those are opportunities in the future, but as it stands right now, since these are two main goals that you have, how are you keeping track at this time?
At this time, we are correlating increases that happen during those areas and looking at our budget and aligning, were we doing marketing efforts at that time? Did we see an increase in these two? And then we can correlate those as successes.
And you've had this for 6 months, so has that already been done? And if so, how much of that data do you have?
We are working on our Q4, October, November, December 2022 report right now. And we will be comparing the lodging data from that time. We did not look at Q3 of 2022 because that was development and we had very few assets in market during Q3 since it was summer months for Solvang and there was a lot of onboarding process. So Q4 of 2022, the last 3 months, was our big push, and we will be able to now compare the lodging to that. So we will have that at the next TAC meeting to present.
Okay, so you were talking about
just a little bit.
Yes, you were talking about the website, and I understand the complications you've had as far as getting that transferred and what you need to be able to access it and being antiquated. I believe you said it was about 10 years out of date. Was that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So was that reviewed when you submitted your bid? Was the website reviewed?
Yeah, it was reviewed, and we proposed an additional cost to redo the website. At the time, the city did not choose to move forward with that direction.
So since the city chose not to move forward, and I'm sure you pretty much knew that you'd have to create a landing page to be able to keep that up to date. When did you create that landing page?
The landing page launched in approximately October 2022. I would have to go find the exact date.
Okay, and you started the contract when again?
July 1st.
Okay, so the landing page wasn't ready to go for about 3 or 4 months. So the landing
that was the timeline that was agreed to between our team and the city to launch that.
Okay, and so can we bring up that landing page that you have real quick?
Yeah, if you give me just a moment.
Okay. And while you're bringing that up, will you just reiterate real quick what the purpose of the website, the overall purpose of the website and landing page is?
The purpose of this landing page or the website? Can you repeat the question? Sorry, I'm not sure.
The general purpose of having a website or a landing page.
Absolutely. So the purpose of a website or a landing page is we need to have a location for individuals who see our paid advertisements or people who are on our organic social media or people who are on Google, Bing, different search engines who may be looking for information about where to go travel, looking for information about Solvang, a homepage or kind of a place where they can go and be inspired and learn more information. We also believe that the goal of a DMO landing page is to provide links out and encourage people to go visit our businesses and our partners. So of course we want to inspire them, but oftentimes, such as the Solvang website, we aren't selling anything. So we want to make sure that they have the opportunity to go and find information about partners and businesses, and then they can go and actually book a trip, book hotels, make dinner reservations, whatever it is that they're looking to do.
So to the layman, and correct me if I'm wrong, I'm just trying to make sure that I understand, the purpose of this. They land on the landing page. It would have been originally the website, since it's out of date and it's hard to get that updated. You created a landing page, which is almost like a dummy website. And the purpose of that is to kind of get interest and hopefully get them to either book a hotel stay or come and visit because it's intriguing and they want to have more interaction with the site. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. So can we go to, because I was looking at what you have for the blog and the events, and I was looking at that page. Did you guys have anything for a restaurant? The restaurant weeks that we had here?
So the events is something I would be managing, so they wouldn't install the events onto the events page. So that is part of my responsibility, and I don't know if I had it up there. So that would be my fault for not having it. I know I gave them the information to post on social, and they did.
Okay, and
And the blogs is not currently being managed at this point. So
okay. Were the blogs, was that part of the service being provided that we're
It's
paying
not.
for?
Not
Okay.
for the ad agency, no.
That okay. Because I did see that in the bid and what was being that was a part of the package.
It's not in their contract. I mean, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but for them to do blogs is not in the actual contract.
I'll double check that. So for the restaurant, how many posts did you all do for that? And was that featured on the landing page?
I do not know the number of posts off the top of my head. I can go count and get back to you. It was not added to the landing page. I think in that time we were driving to the events page.
But it wasn't on the events page either, right?
I don't know if I added it, to be honest.
Okay. Because when I looked at the events page, and I think I sent this to you, if you want to pull it up, let me just bring it back up real quick. For the restaurant week, there were 2 posts. One post featured Sierra Restaurant, and another post was more generic in nature. But those were the only 2 posts that were created for the restaurant, and we have some great restaurants here with some great reviews and ratings. Can you explain to us why that wasn't highlighted more?
We are always looking at optimizing how much content we put out about one item, as well as how much content we're putting out about the destination as a whole, and then finally looking at the third, which is engagement. If we post 3 posts a day, our engagement rate goes down. Even a daily post, our engagement rate goes down. Facebook or Instagram and Twitter, Instagram specifically, as well as Facebook, which we are moving forward with a new direction for that, but Instagram and Facebook specifically look at business pages and will not show their posts to every single person who follows the page. And so one, we try to find the right cadence of posting where we are being shown by the most people, and then use the boosting budget in our contract most effectively to get the posts out to the right people. So we're always balancing and using strategy to identify how much to post about certain items.
Okay, so I don't know if they could bring up the second page that I sent you where it has the restaurant week post that you had listed. Are you able to bring that up? I sent it via email. It says reference materials.
I don't believe I have access to that email.
Well, if you go to the Instagram page for the city of Solvang, it's right there. And one of the things that I looked at is the fact that, for example, it said tap the link in our bio for more information. But if you look at the bio, there's no link tree, and there was actually no link there.
Okay. I see right now there is a link to the Facebook page, the new Facebook page that we're developing. But there is discussion about next adding like a link tree, and we can look at developing something more
Right.
quickly for that as well.
But so the post said to go to the link in the bio for more information, but there was no link in the bio. Were you guys aware of that?
I would have to go check. I see a link in bio now. I can't go back in time and see what was there at that point in time when the post.
So even if you bring it up right now, can we bring up the Instagram for Solvang? Because typically, for cities or businesses, you would have a link tree or something of that nature, correct?
Yes, we are right now looking to build the new Facebook page, so we have focused on that in the link here.
Right. And again, correct me if I'm wrong. There's usually different audiences that you have for Instagram versus Facebook versus Twitter, and so you kind of tailor your message accordingly. So if someone is on Instagram, can you give us some insight as to why there would be a link to Facebook?
Yes. So right now in this month, we have over the past 6 months, I think the TAC has heard this, and Cheryl and I have worked on this. We have not been able to access Solvang USA's Facebook page that had been alive before our agency became the contracted vendor for marketing efforts. We consulted lawyers, we consulted Facebook multiple times, we consulted the old agency multiple times to try and gain access. And so we chose to work over the last month and then this coming month to develop a new Facebook page for Solvang USA, for Visit Solvang, for the tourists or tourism efforts. The reason being is that the old Facebook page did have high engagement as well as a large number of audience members. And so we know that that can be a positive channel for encouraging many of our messages, such as midweek travel, focusing on events, shoulder season travel, things like that. Because of that, we are using the channels that we do have access to right now, which is Instagram and Twitter, to populate the new Facebook page. So it is not typical that, and we will not have this link here for long, but right now, in order to populate the new Facebook page with followers, we felt it was the best strategy to put this link here to encourage people to go follow the new page. Again, in the future, within a few weeks, I agree with you, it doesn't make sense, but this initial strategy to help build up the following on that new page, we felt that we had to use access to the channels we have, and those two channels are Instagram and Twitter.
Okay, so just so I'm clear, if they're already on Instagram and they've already come to our Instagram page for whatever reason, you are
Correct.
then directing them to go to Facebook. Is that correct?
And to follow us on Facebook. That way that if they, in the future, if they already follow us on Instagram, they're seeing messaging here, and then they will also see our messaging on Facebook in the future. It's beneficial both on an organic perspective for them to follow us on multiple channels because they'll see the content more. And then secondly, we can do better tracking of our Facebook or of our Instagram and Facebook ads when somebody follows us on both channels.
And sorry, I'm just still confused by that, because if I'm already on Instagram, I'm probably not going to go to Facebook. And I know if we're targeting a younger crowd, a lot of them have migrated away from Facebook. So it just seems like we're kind of backtracking a little bit, especially because, and I again, may be incorrect, but our Facebook page had approximately 35,000 followers, correct?
Correct.
And how many followers are now on the new page that you're trying to generate?
I don't know that number. We just posted this in the past couple days, so I don't imagine that it's many yet, but we will be looking to grow the page. Again, we spent the past 6 months trying to get access to the original Solvang USA, consulted lawyers. We sent official letters from the city's lawyers to Facebook to gain access, and we weren't unable to. And so we, in discussion with the city, felt it was best to move forward with developing a new page.
Okay. Because your post on Facebook said that you're going to delete the old page. I don't know, and you probably already know this, but you can merge the pages because right now you have approximately 484 followers on the new page and 35,000 followers on the old page. So you'd be starting from scratch with trying to gain 34,500 followers just to get to where we started from, right?
So the page that has 34,000 followers, it is inaccessible to the city of Solvang, and we were able to gain through the old agency small access rights through their account, which is not sustainable, and they've asked us not to do that. So we only have the rights to the old page just to delete or rename the page. We do not have the access rights to merge the page. We do not have access rights to add anyone else to the page. We do not have access rights to the business manager that goes along with the page. We don't have access rights to move it to the city of Solvang's business manager account. So we have very little access or accessibility at all to that old Facebook page. And Cheryl can't access it. We have tried to take over control of the page, and we've tried everything we can to access the old page that has 34,000 followers. And as I mentioned, all we were able to get is a sliver of access through the old agency's business account, which they've asked us not to use. And because of that, we cannot move forward with a merger to the new page. We can't take over the business account, a business manager. We cannot launch ads. We cannot make posts on the Facebook page even with our access. So it's very, very small. And we felt that Facebook does provide a good opportunity to reach people because, as you mentioned, we had 34,000 people following us. So we know there's an interest in Solvang of that group. And so we want to move them to this new page, help to develop this new page, gain that back, and then conduct marketing efforts through Facebook as well. But we have not been able to conduct marketing efforts through Facebook.
Okay, so our contract, you're overseeing Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, and thus far you haven't been able to oversee really the social media marketing for Facebook. Is that correct? In the past 6 months, for the most part?
Correct.
Okay.
We have spent the past 6 months trying to gain access to Facebook.
Okay, but as of right now, you haven't really done any social media marketing for Facebook, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and then you guys currently have an ad that we're paying for on Instagram and Facebook, and the ad is essentially telling people that we have a new Facebook page. Is that correct?
There is a post on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
The only ad about the Facebook page is on Facebook. So the only money that is going towards the new Facebook page is an ad on Facebook, encouraging people on Facebook to go like the new Solvang page. There is a post on Instagram though, and that post on Instagram is encouraging people to go like the new Facebook page.
And if you guys know what I'm talking about, if you pull up the Instagram real quick, right now the ad or the post is saying we have a new Facebook page. So right now that's what we're paying for. So,
Again, the reason is we have very few outreach channels. A part of our original discussion and to the city was we wanted to develop a newsletter. Solvang, because the change from the CVB to the TAC There's a great opportunity for Solvang to continue to develop its own audience. So people who are engaging with Solvang, and that is where, your ambassadors are the people that are in your owned audience. You don't want to pay for ads constantly because those
Oh,
people
no, we
may
know that.
forget
I
about
just,
you.
I'm just
So,
trying to
but
figure
the
out where the money.
importance of having
Wait,
this
Connie,
post
real quick.
on Instagram, encouraging people to go to Facebook, is because that is another channel and another place we can create an owned audience.
This is a question more directed to Ms. Schallenberger, but what are, is there any recourse that we have to actually obtain access to this Facebook page? Why don't they have to hand over access to the Facebook page as they did with the Instagram and Twitter page? Because 35,000 followers costs a lot of money to gain that amount. It's worth money. So I think if there are any other options to gain this account.
I feel we have exhausted everything. Dave, the city attorney, has gotten involved and on multiple levels to reach out. We've had multiple calls with Facebook. I've reached out to every single possible employee, contractor that has even touched the account and introduced myself and asked if they still have access. So I feel in all good faith that we have done everything we possibly can to get access. And I think the post on Instagram, they didn't pay money behind it. It is just a post. And I think, again, it's just to try whatever we can do to organically grow back some of that followership. Social media, you can buy ads, but it's also free. So whatever people we can get and whatever attention we can get to that new Facebook page is still an opportunity that we have. But yes, I do feel that we have gone to great lengths to get access.
Thank you. And just to understand though, IDK has access to the account. They're just not, or
I don't know if I can I feel like no, they have the same limited access. So
Yeah.
So it was prior to IDK that has access to that.
I'm sorry?
Prior to IDK, that group has access.
I don't know who that group would be though. Prior to IDK?
Well, that was the Valley Visitor Center, the Valley, the previous.
The CBB,
CBB,
which is,
yeah.
I mean,
We had the access-
Tracy
we had-
Farhan's gone to my office and sit with me to try to help me.
Yeah.
Even to that length, she's been involved. So we cannot find who actually has owned it. So,
Okay.
like I said, she's gone inside my office and sat with me and we tried to look at it. We
So is it
looked
a
at her
matter
accounts.
of looking for the passwords or the codes or what is it?
It's whoever has the actual business admin access.
Yeah. So there's two issues. Is one, the page was not created with a login and password. An individual created the page as part of their individual Facebook account. They didn't create it separate from their individual Facebook account. Later, a separate business account was created for the page by somebody else. And so throughout the ownership of both of those, and then different individuals took over or were given access, and eventually different emails were tried to tie to the page, like emails like PIO@City of Solvang were tried to be tied to the page, but none of them actually took over as ownership and admin. And so as Cheryl mentioned, she's reached out to all the people who have owned the page personally in the past, but they've handed it over to other people who don't have access. And so we have never been able to identify either the email that does own or have access. And then we have filed multiple complaints with Facebook saying that we are the correct owners. You can see that we own the URL that's tied to the page. We are the City of Solvang. We have a separate City of Solvang Facebook. So we've tried to show them that. And unfortunately, they've said that that's not enough evidence to turn over the page. Hence why we got the lawyers involved to send them letters to speak with IDK and Cogs and Marvel as well to try to get access through them. And those have not been fruitful, unfortunately.
So this may be a crazy question, but so what steps are we taking to ensure that we don't go through this process again? Because if we can't fix the past, so be it. But obviously, we don't want to repeat the same mistake again.
Yes, and Abbey Agency's been very aware of that and had a plan in place. So it's having an alias email address here within the city of Solvang, be an owner. I'm an owner. We've given ownership to multiple other employees within. So if someone were to leave, and it's don't have access, but there's multiple people and along with an alias as well. So.
And those steps would be considered kind of best practice.
Yes, yeah. So there's multiple owners at this point, so it's not just on one person that has all that power, if you will.
If I can
And then the
recommendation.
business manager of the page, which is separate, but that's where ads are run, that's tied to the city of Solvang's business manager. And the city of Solvang runs that business manager and created it themselves. So that's another step to ensure that this city of Solvang is associated and owns the page, and that ownership could be transferred to anyone else at any point in time.
If I can make a recommendation, and that you have 2 generic City of Solvang emails or accounts as the owners, and then those owner accounts they give permission to individuals. And that way you don't have individuals as owners of this account as well, which creates a possible conflict of interest and a security conflict. So they can give rights.
Yeah.
So real quick, bringing up since for the Instagram, because I know you talked about campaigns and ensuring that it's driving our overall goals. Can you discuss with us how you guys came up with the visual for the posting for Valentine's Day?
Yes, the post for Valentine's Day and throughout our posts, our goal has been to show diversity throughout Solvang. At times we don't have access to a lot of different individuals who may travel to Solvang or be residents of Solvang, and so that is a big focus of our upcoming photo shoot, is to focus on that. And this photo, again, was one attempt at showing diversity of Solvang.
Okay. Do you feel that was the best choice? And if you want to know what I'm referencing, if you go to the Instagram page, there are certain target demographics, like you said, families, and of course you want people to come that are going to stay midweek, spend some money in the town and stay overnight, et cetera, et cetera. It kind of looks like 20-year-olds that are featured in the visual, and it has very low engagement.
We did talk about younger audience, and that was a big directive of the TAC. It does have a high engagement and a lot of individuals who are speaking about how accepting and open Solvang is, and many people who are sharing their experience here and how positive it has been.
Right, but this is the only visual you guys have had for Valentine's Day here, right?
No, we will be posting additional Valentine's Day photos throughout February. This was just one photo.
Okay, and it's the only one you've had so far?
It's the only Valentine's Day post we have done so far, but we do have another one scheduled very shortly.
Okay, yeah, because I looked up what you guys have scheduled, and it looks like the same kind of visuals are being used across the board, and the same language and kind of posts. Do you differentiate with the posts on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram?
Our contract is for 2 posts per week used across all channels.
Okay, because I think your proposal said that you were going to differentiate according to the channels, and I may be wrong, but I thought that's what I read, and I didn't see that in the post. Would you typically recommend having the same exact posts across those 3 different media platforms?
So now that we have access to Facebook, you'll see different posts on Facebook and Instagram. On Twitter, what we'll do is use high performing content. And then we also do change the character count, and we do rewrite captions for Twitter to be within different character limits and use hashtags as needed on Twitter. Right now, since we haven't been on Facebook, you can't see the difference between both Facebook and Instagram, but we do understand and feel that differentiation is important. As I mentioned, our contract is just for 2 posts per week, but we've already been going above that, and then we will continue to look at opportunities and ways to differentiate now that we do have a new Facebook page.
Okay, and you said Twitter, that being one of the platforms with high performing posts is kind of what you put there. How many Twitter followers have you guys increased? And
we will, in our quarterly review, which we're working on now, as I mentioned, that's where we look at overall increases from the previous quarter in follower count, and then we also look at year-over-year growth at that time.
okay,
So
I really like some emphasis to be put on there because you've increased by 4 followers for Twitter, which if we weren't able to use Facebook and we were primarily doing Instagram and Twitter, I would hope to kind of see more improvement since those were the 2 social media avenues that we were able to use and focus on. So in your report, if you could please provide some information as to how you plan on improving those numbers moving forward.
yes, absolutely.
Anyone else? Members? No other members? We'll go to the public.
Oh, wait, I have a couple more questions. And, okay, so, when you guys were, did you come out here for the trip in August? It looks like in the budget.
Yeah, our team was there in August for the TAC meeting.
Okay, because I think on that line item, it had $10,000 was budgeted for content back in August. $5,000 we paid for you guys to come for an immersion trip, right? And that $5,000 included us covering their hotel, their food, everything. We were also paying the monthly rate for your PR services to have you guys kind of in the background, and we were paying for the social media as well. So for that month, we paid around $25,000 for you guys to come and experience Solvang and get content. But you were also talking about not having that many photos and things like that. Can you give us more of an idea of what you guys gathered when you came back in August, which was approximately 6 months ago?
I'm not sure what budget you're referring to. The immersion trip was only $4,800. I believe you mentioned $10,000.
Well, no, you in your budget, what you charged us was $10,000 for content back in August of 2022. I'll bring up that line item real quick. And then it was a separate line item of $5,000 for the immersion trip. So that month it was a $10,000 for content and $5,000 for the immersion.
We did not bill you $10,000 for content in August.
So we weren't billed at all for that?
You were billed $4,800 for the immersion trip. The content trip was not billed in August.
Okay, so it hasn't been billed at all so far?
Correct. The content curation trip had not been billed.
Okay, and then when you came in August for the immersion trip, did you guys take photos? Did you get some materials at that time that could have been used for the social media post or the landing page or anything like that? Or you guys just kind of?
No, there was a photographer from our team. It was there was not a professional photographer, which is why the content bucket was not billed. And we did gather imagery at that time. And we did photos, we did live photos from Solvang at that time. And we have used some of those photos. Our team who was in that photo, that photo shoot, was very much in summer attire, and so those photos were used throughout August, September, a little bit into October. But then in October, we transitioned to some more fall, as well as promoting Yule Fest, and then imagery. And then throughout November and December, we focused on Yule Fest imagery. And in January, we focused more on winter and promoting spring. Now that we're getting into spring, some of those photos at that time that we took will be able to be used again.
Okay. So this is approximately, this contract, for those that don't know, is approximately $300,000 annually. And part of that contract is we pay $5,000 for your team to kind of come here and have a good time, right?
In that immersion trip, we met with different businesses to learn about what their needs are, how tourists have changed over time, and then to go see what Solvang has to offer and to really immerse ourselves in the experience of a visitor. And that is used, one, to help us create better content, that's used to help us inform how we developed the landing page and the different buckets of information that we had on there. That's used for our campaign concepting and all of our advertising moving forward as well.
Okay.
And
So-
in my background, it is standard practices, so.
No, I know it's standard practices, but what she was saying earlier was that really she didn't have that much content, you know.
And I
for
think
that.
at that point, they still thought they were gonna have access to a photo library
Yes.
catalog.
We were
Right.
told there was additional photo library, hence why we did not spend $10,000 on a content curation trip at that time. And we simply had one individual who was in there for a day and a half. We did gather photography, but they aren't hero images. That's why we're working toward the March date where we can plan out an actual photo shoot with hero images that help represent the destination.
I'm just saying, as a resident and on this council, I would have loved if we had to spend the $10,000 back then, so that we would have had realistic images and accurate imagery to use that would have been to our benefit, especially if we didn't have access to the Facebook. And the Instagram page needs to be updated. If you look at the icons and everything like that, I didn't bring that up, but there are some misspellings. There's some misspellings in different posts. The Instagram does need to be updated. It does need a link tree, which can be done very quickly. But I know that you come for the experience, and that's great to get an idea of what it's like, but we're talking about 6 months here. So I would have liked to have seen either the initiative to come and learn more if you still aren't familiar with certain things, and if there's been all these complications and being able to have accurate posts. I would have loved to have seen that initiative to say, you know what, let's go out there and let's take a trip. We haven't been able to do the Facebook, haven't been able to do the website. Let's get this town some content that they could use that would be a benefit to them. Lastly, before we move on, I just want to ask about, I looked at the metrics, and I know our focus is on different parts of California. It looks like a lot of money was spent on national publications. And I looked at your metrics as far as your bounce rate and different things of the nature. Bounce rates, for example, you get somebody, you drive them to your website, your landing page. The hope is that they stay there for a certain period of time. The average bounce rate is about a minute and 19 seconds, which means they're getting there and they're leaving. The bounce rate is about 59% to about 69% in some cases, which is extremely high and higher than the average. So how are you guys working to improve that so that our bounce rate is decreased and there's longer engagement with the landing page or the site?
Those are great questions, and we needed access to the website to make any substantial changes. The bounce rate as well as time on page, I think, is high because the website is incredibly old. When somebody goes to the website, it has a different logo than anything that they're seeing on organic or paid media posts. The content is out of date, And those are all things that Cheryl and our team are working on updating now that we have access. But again, gaining access as well as actually making those changes is difficult. It's a bit like playing whack-a-mole. For instance, we just updated some things on the restaurant page, and then all the restaurant listings disappeared. And so then we had to go figure out, why did that happen? And it's just the fact that the platform that it's built on is so old that when you make one change, it causes different changes and issues in different areas. And so we've talked to Cheryl about what next steps are, and looking at what could it mean to develop a new website. But we think that we will be limited on controlling or getting those metrics into a better place due to the limitations on the current site.
And actually on page of 86, the last page of the agenda packet, I did compare some websites to other destinations, and it does include bounce rate if you just want to check it out for reference.
No, I reviewed that. Yeah, if you can, if the website is out of date, but you can create a really compelling landing page that can almost, replicate a website. So I would love to see that moving forward. What you're going to do as far as action items for improvement regarding that. The last thing I want to bring up, if you turn to page 69 of the packet, is your paid media overview. Because I would just like for you to kind of give us a quick insight. You have Pinterest, which had impressions of 32,000. Of that 32,000, your click rate was 56 total. So 32,000 people apparently saw it. Out of that 32,000, 56 people clicked on it. Is that?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That is, specifically for the Yule Fest campaign. We ran that campaign focused on awareness. So you can set up campaigns to run in different ways. Because we had high engagement on SEM and high click-through rate on SEM, we felt that it was okay to have a tactic such as Pinterest, and the best strategy would be have a tactic such as Pinterest, which was high awareness. So the click-through rate of that was 0.17. The click-through rate benchmark is 0.2. So under that, but very close, considering we were not running a click-through rate focused campaign. We were spending our money on an awareness focused campaign on Pinterest.
Right, but even with awareness, you want the people to see it, they're aware of it, to be people who have a potential of coming to visit or be interested in the town, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Because your display has impressions of 1,432,000 people that apparently saw it, right? But the click-through was 944. I know you said in there that you felt it was successful because it was at 1,000,004, but the fact that the click rate, even with there being awareness, was so low. The benchmark is 47%. It was less than 1%. So
the benchmark rate is 0.47%, not 47%, to clarify.
Well,
and that being said, again, that was driven towards awareness. We were targeting people in LA as well as our drive market, and with our limited budget, we felt we wanted to get as many people to see it as we can. You'll see that search, which is SEM, does have a much higher click-through rate because often
but
find people.
Hold on real quick, Connie. I understand about the SEM, but I want to stick with the display, because if 1,000,004 people are seeing this, but we can't use 1,000,003, right? And we still paid for it. It's kind of just like throwing everything but the kitchen sink, right? So even with awareness, we want people to be aware that could be potential visitors, potential stays, right? So just taking stock of that and account of that, I hope moving forward that even with the display, that, because it's substantially less than what the benchmark is, that's possibly looking at differentiation with what you're using for your ads, because it was kind of the same across the board, so that we could see if it's more effective and efficient with certain visuals. I just want you to be cognizant of that because that really stood out to me, those two line items. And I get what you're saying about the SEM, and that's great, but we want these other two metrics to be great as well.
Yes, absolutely. I understand and I appreciate that feedback.
Anyone? Yep.
Yeah. Can I say something? So now, Vashti has asked many questions, which a lot of the questions you couldn't answer. And I know you've been only at this at 6 months, but if the public's here watching all of this, they're probably going, wow, the city of Solvang is throwing $300,000 at this group, and are we getting $150,000 in just 6 months? I'm just asking, if you're going to continue with us, can you provide, when we're having our meetings, if you could be, because you could answer half the questions that she asked. You said you were going to get to it. Can we ask that you be ready for our meetings? Because you have the schedule. I know we all have the schedule. Just so we can go and immediately hit these numbers, talk about the answers, be ready to go. You should be telling her rather than her asking the questions. You're the pros. I thought. That's what I thought you guys were. I feel, if this keeps going like this, the city council is the ones that gave you the money. Between the two groups, we're giving you this chance. And right now, it just looks less than. That's all. And can you see that? How it sounds and looks?
Thank you for bringing that up, Mr. Jensen, and I completely understand. And Cheryl and I have talked about this. Some of the challenge in when the TAC meeting is scheduled is right now the Yule Fest report, which Vashti just brought up, is from December, right? This meeting being on February 2nd, I can't report January's efforts because it takes, like, sometimes these meetings run on the first of the month. And so it does feel like we are discussing efforts that are old and we aren't able to address some of the new things that are happening and changing month to month. And so I think that sometimes that presents a challenge in reporting as the scheduling of the meetings. And then that being said, our team has a special cadence for things. Some of these questions about how are we doing on performing on the lodging tax revenue, as I mentioned, and as we presented to the TAC last year, those are done on a quarterly basis. And so we are actively analyzing that last quarter right now, and we'll present at that March meeting. We have to wait for the city's lodging data to come out, which is 2 months behind. So I don't have that data to give to you today to correlate those marketing efforts.
So one thing, TOT money, we had it before when we were the Visitors Bureau, okay? When we had it, we were going through the same thing, and it's all about TOT money, okay? So we're giving it to you right now because you're the contracted group. And we're finding out today, maybe it's going well, maybe not, I don't know. But it just looks fudgy. We could bring it back in-house and have someone else doing it. And that's what we did before. So I'm looking at this as that you're the experts. You should be knowing how to do it. Or do we bring it back to our house? And you're forcing us to have to think about that right now because you've had 6 months to tell us that you're working, it's all done and finished. If it's not ready on the website, it's not going. I mean, Vashti's already brought all these things up. I want to keep going here. But it makes me want to think that maybe we have to bring it back in-house. And I feel bad now because I thought you were the pick. You were the ones that were going to make this work. And you can't even give us an answer on stuff that when our schedule is. I've been waiting. We all have schedules. And you're supposed to be the pros. I'm a little frustrated. That's all.
I do want to piggyback real quick on what Kim was saying, because I understand you said that some of this data was from January and today is February 3rd. Correct me if I'm wrong, I get my dates February 2nd. Just so you're aware, Connie, I am a sole parent to a 5th grader. I have had 47 minutes of sleep in the past 36 hours because I was reviewing everything that you guys submitted. Everything that I'm saying is in relation to what you submitted. So I took what you submitted And then I went and did an independent analysis, and I did a juxtaposition. And I also reviewed what we were contracted and what we agreed and what we're paying you for. So here's how I feel. If I can have 47 minutes of sleep while taking care of a child who has interrupted me, I don't know how many times, but you know, I digress. And I'm doing this for free. Y'all are getting paid $300,000 a year. I want to see that same passion and that same commitment that you are ready to go when we have meetings. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Because this is all
I
data
appreciate
you submitted. Okay. All right.
And
Members of the public, come on up. If you can remember to state your name, thank you.
Hi, I'm Esther Jacobson Bates. I'm the Executive Director at the Elverhoy Museum of History and Art. I'd like to welcome Vashti, the new chair, and Alexander, did I get that right? Vice Chair, and the rest of you back to the committee. Sorry I was 1 minute late. You guys are right on target for starting, and I missed the public comments. But this is, I think, relevant to the topic that you're on here. Elverhoy does receive funding from the city. And part of our contract for that funding is that we provide historical content and information to support the city's historical and cultural roots. It specifically calls out that we support the tourism efforts and that we meet and greet and work with journalists, the media, and the promoters. So I want you to know that we are your resource here and we're available to help if called upon. And I'm also here in that respect today. And wanted to really kind of touch base on the theme for the advertising that is being used at this point. First saw it with the visitor's guide that came out and the ad on the back there with prominent placement for Solvang. I work as well with the Danish embassy in Washington, D.C., Denmark's embassy there, and the ambassador. And I think one of the things that's really important is that we're collaborating, working together. I'm a little concerned about a kind of competitive nature to the advertisement. We're only sweeter than Denmark and only Chardonnay-ier. I'm not convinced it's probably the best of engagement. Would like to, of course, continue to see that uniqueness that is Solvang, which is, of course, what sets the area apart, and continuing to utilize those historical and cultural identities to bring visitors here, to make it an inclusive experience, to continue to do what Solvang does so well. Being safe, welcoming, modern, I think is a really good thing to say too. Kind of blending the old world that you see on in the streets and in the architecture, but with the more modern for which Denmark is certainly noted today. And to that end, I would like the committee here to really also consider the approach to promoting the community and whether that is the best approach, if it could use a little tweaking to continue to bring the best experience for the visitors and show that to the best of the extent possible. And I did have a kind of question too. It was interesting to hear about each of you about the marketing. I had not understood that the Central Valley, specifically Bakersfield, was a target audience. And I had thought that the Bay Area was also a target audience. And I didn't hear that, but perhaps that just wasn't noted today.
We're at 3 minutes. You can
Oh, am I up?
if you can wrap it up.
Yes, and I am wrapping it up. Thank you for the extra time. I wanted to compliment the goal of updating the website, because I can tell you the Elverhoy information, even though we've submitted updates over the last couple of years, is really, really wrong. Wrong hours, it references an Amtrak promotion I have no knowledge of. So it's great to hear that there is a goal for that. So welcome, know that there's a resource, and please call upon us if we can help.
Thank you. Great.
Are they done with their presentation?
For item B, yes. We're trying to move on to C for Yule Fest.
Can I ask a question then about, to her report?
Sure.
How are you partnering with SYV? Can you tell me that? The partnership you're creating with Visit SYV?
Yes, we have met with them and we look at their social media posts to see if there's opportunities for collaboration and resharing. And we have collaborated and reshared on social media posts, or there was a voting post where we did a collaborative post between the two organizations. And so our collaboration to date has focused on social media efforts.
Okay, are you gonna work with them on the midweek promotion that they are engaging on starting February 12th to April 6th? Have you had that conversation yet for the midweek overnight stays from Sunday to Thursday?
I was not aware, they had not briefed us on that, but we can absolutely reach out to collaborate.
Okay, because they've sent it out, they have worked on it, my hotels are calling me and that, so I just wanted to curious where we were on this midweek promotion with them and how we can help collaborate together and help you work together to make sure that we're doing the right things that they're doing and that.
Absolutely.
Okay, and then I have another question. You said you're working with Visit California. Can you tell me about that project you're doing with them right now?
We've worked on, we've worked on PR and sending them pitch ideas each month that align with their content themes.
Okay, so is that the same content that they visited my office for 2 hours in December and they wanted us to send them editorial content? How much are you sending them that editorial content? Can I ask that question? Because they have a campaign right now. How much, because I'm not seeing it when I'm looking at their post all the time.
This is through PR, so it's focused on media relations and pitching journalists. And so we have been sending them 2 to 3 pitch ideas for journalists per month. And then for social media in the fall, we collaborated on an Instagram reel video with them. And then we will continue to reach out to them for social media opportunities.
Okay, because they sent us a post, we've sent it out to the business community about they would like to have story ideas of where to go. And I'm going to give an example. Go to Ingeborg's, get great chocolate, pair it with wine down the street at Lucas and Llewellyn. And they want us to tell the story of Ingeborg's and then tell the story. And she was very adamant on she was not getting good content. So I'm not trying to put you on the spot or anything, because I think it's a separate thing of it's storytelling. And so they want a map of where to go, of walk, shop, dine in town and tell the story of the business owner. And that is what she kind of told me. She wanted to hear the business stories and send them to 2 or 3 spots. Send her a map each week of where to go. So, then next week I would send. So are you working with her on that content?
Is that Kristen? Because I can connect with her if that's what she's looking for. I'm happy to help with that.
Well, we've been contacting because we've been one of those partners on there. Where the chamber's a partner on that also. So yeah.
So I'll reach out to Kristen, the PR manager over there. I know her really well.
Yeah, because we weren't seeing that kind of content going out, and then Shelby just sent this out, and the hotels have been calling. How are Solvang USA? How are is our marketing team promoting that with they thought they had a relationship, so that we're getting asked that question, and not to put you on the spot, that's all. And are you going to be doing anything with the co-op with Shelby? Can I ask that with the Westways? Are we doing anything with that?
Yes, we are doing.
Yes, we have committed to be part of the Westways co-op.
How much are we committing if print media isn't that popular and Westways has an average? Why, can I ask that question? Why
That was direction from me.
Okay.
It was a long-standing relationship that Solvang has been involved without co-op, and I did not feel that it was right to pool. And I actually asked the Abbey agency to adjust the media buy to do the purchase.
Okay, that's all I have.
Real quick for Cheryl and both of you, I understand it's been a long-standing relationship, but is the money is it the best use of our money for us as a?
For the Westways,
Mhm.
yes, I actually did run it by Brad, the city manager, as well, and he had approval on it. I think it is a target market. It's a great piece. It actually gives the businesses a great price to co-op into it. So I do think that it is a value. With such limited print, I do think it's a piece that actually people still pick up and read. So many people have talked about the recent coverage in Solvang and Westways, so I do think that it is a valuable printed piece.
Real quick, Connie, will you add one more thing that I want, I hope you guys address for our next meeting? I'm not sure if you review the Denmark website, which is phenomenal, by the way. It definitely shows diversity, the content used, it's easy to navigate. One of the things I did notice in reviewing the content that you guys have out there is approximately 80 to 90% of the people that you chose to display are white people, which is kind of not reflective of the visitors. As far as tourists, with our goal for diversity, and also with the fact that we're trying to target a younger demographic as well. I think diversity is a huge push for the younger demographic. So I would like to see more of a varied nature when it comes to the content that you plan to implement over the next 6 months.
And that's definitely in the plan, especially with the photo shoot coming up in March. We've talked about that. I think because of the lack of library and the assets, they've had to use what we've had available, and as well as user-generated content. So it's not been able to create imagery quickly in the 6 months because they thought we were going to have an asset library. But yes,
Yeah,
that
but
is
you could
important.
get stock photos that, I mean,
They will know. They will. I've worked on other cities. They will shoot you down if you use stock. They know where you're in the destination or
well,
not.
but right now we have
we
a lot
try
of
to
stock photos on the landing page. If you go to the landing page of the events, it's a stock photo of flowers, it's a stock photo of, so we are using stock photos.
No, they're actually, those are old ones we pulled. Those are for farmers markets. They're actually all organic, and it's a philosophy of my own to actually stay true to destination imagery and not use stock. The exceptions were some of these ads, and I get it, but they were very clip arty to make you very well that it's not stock photography.
And I understand that's a personal philosophy, but if we have gone 6 months and we don't have the imagery we need, sometimes you have to do things that may be out of your normal purview. And if that means that we have to find stock imagery so that we have something beyond what is being shown right now, I would prefer to see that rather than adhering. I mean, you have your personal philosophy all day, I have mine, but 6 months is a long time to not have imagery that's compelling. And with the photo shoot being in March, we probably won't be able to get the imagery for at least a month's time. So now we're looking at April.
I did do a photo shoot for Yule Fest, so they will probably start posting some of those images, and there's diversity in those images. So we do have some new content coming.
No, and I love that, but 6 months, again, that we've been, paying for. So I just, for me, direction is if we don't have it, then we need to use what we can to try to reach our goal of diversity. And that means not just kind of posting things that are not compelling until we're able to get actual photos, because that's a personal philosophy. I would rather use stock photos that we can have interspersed that are actually compelling to different visitors.
Yes.
The chamber has 1,000 photos we paid professionally to Linda Blue Photography. I will give you a thumb drive and access to what you want.
Thank you.
And they were done over a period of time, and we'll offer them up free to this because I think we need to move on, and I'm happy to do that.
Thank you,
chamber.
Thank you, chamber.
Thank you, Tracy.
We are going to move on to 4C, discussion of the Yule Fest marketing and public relations reports.
Okay, I will share my screen. From November through January, the majority of the social media, paid media, and public relations efforts were focused on promoting Yule Fest throughout Solvang. I'm going to highlight a few of the key items that were conducted during that time. We obviously posted on Instagram and Twitter throughout that time. We wanted to highlight a few of the key Instagram posts that had very high engagement as well as impressions. We totaled up all of the impressions and engagement for posts throughout that 3-month period. And then we also counted followers from before and after. And in that 3-month period, we gained over 1,000 new followers on Instagram. We also focused on sharing different reels. These are videos on Instagram, and those often have high engagement as well as impressions as well. So 2 specific Yule Fest reels were shared. Here is the Twitter engagement, impressions and engagement for those 3 months. So you'll see lots of different pictures here focusing on Yule Fest. We conducted 3 different campaigns on social media throughout Yule Fest to encourage user-generated content, to encourage local engagement among businesses and people within Solvang, and then also to talk about the history and culture of Solvang and Yule Fest. So the first campaign we launched was a giveaway where we asked people to share their favorite memory of Yule Fest with the hashtag Solvang Yule Fest. In total, we had 87 contest entries. We only ran this contest for about a week. So that's pretty high engagement and the first time that the Instagram page has done a giveaway. And so we expect that individuals over time will participate in giveaways more often. We were able to gather user-generated content from that, and then we also were able to share the message with Yule Fest with more people because they were making these posts on their own page about how much they love Yule Fest. So anyone who follows those individuals were seeing the message as well.
What was the giveaway? Can I ask? Just so
we gave away, the Abbey Agency purchased a hotel voucher for a family, and we randomly chose the person who submitted, and we gave them a hotel stay.
Do you think that like that amount of money spent is worth the 87 people who engaged with this post?
I think with unfortunately we can't see how many people all of these other posts reached. But if we average that, everyone has a few hundred friends or followers, I do think that it was worth the engagement and the ability for us to reach new individuals.
If this is something that you're going to do in the future, I'd love to see just more data and statistics because it is a lot of money to spend that could be spent on other types of advertising, and it may be an excellent form of advertising. It may generate a lot of content for the cost. I just would love to see specifics since just the information I have, I'm not sure what the benefit is of this giveaway. But thank you.
Do you think the Twitter, what are your thoughts on the impressions, engagements, and I think it's 4 new followers we had for the money we spent on Twitter? Do you think that was worth that investment?
I think that overall Twitter is still a valuable resource in reaching people. There has been, as you've seen, Twitter has been in the news for its ownership change. And so a lot of brands have been seeing a varying amount of growth since Elon Musk has taken over. We think overall that is steadying out now and that more people will be engaging on Twitter again in the future than perhaps were over the fall. Overall, comparing some of these posts to previous month's posts, we are reaching people about at a regular cadence and basis. Twitter in general has lower engagement and impressions than other platforms. We do think it's still a valuable way to reach people.
And Connie, I could be wrong. I think you said it wrong. A lot of people actually saw decrease in followership because of the ownership. Yeah. I think you said growth, but.
Oh, sorry, I meant
saw a
decrease.
lot of
Yeah, like a lot of
decrease.
people saw a decrease in growth because people left Twitter in fall.
So then if that was the case, should we have corrected and not spent that money via Twitter when so much turmoil was going on? Because he took over October 27th.
And we saw still the same engagement and impressions because our channel isn't one that's a politically charged channel. It's a lifestyle travel focused channel. It still had consistent engagement and impressions. So we didn't feel that it was a need to draw back.
Okay, because I just want you to understand that on one hand you said it was a decrease in followers overall, and that's owing to these low numbers we're seeing. But then on the other hand, you said it was consistent. But what we got was 190 engagements and 4 new followers for the money that was spent for that. So just moving forward, if there is something like that. Whether it's that's with Cheryl or however you choose to do it, I would love to see that kind of ability to correct quickly if necessary.
Thank you for that feedback.
When it came to Twitter and these other ones, I didn't see anything regarding the Queen, who this phenomenal woman that has been the Queen for many years. Did you guys think to kind of piggyback on the fact that, the Queen of England, her passing, that so many people were looking up Queen to kind of marry something, a campaign or posts that could kind of take advantage of all of the interest in the monarchies?
Vashti, sorry to interrupt, but can we stay on the Yule Fest agenda first, and then you'll have a chance to ask questions.
Okay. Well, I was asking because of the visuals that were used for Yule Fest. Was around the same time when all that was going on with the Queen, so I would have loved to have seen some visuals related to that could have kind of segued or had something in common with that. The visuals I see are of males or male figures, so I just would have liked to have seen some more with that. But go ahead.
Okay. Thank you. So the second campaign specifically focused on Yule Fest that was launched in November or December 1st was the 12 Days of Yule Fest. This was focused on the Instagram stories, and there was a playful list of 12 different items of Yule Fest, and then an individual would see a picture of that item, and then the next story that they would see is the history of the Danish flag or the founders of Solvang. And so in this, our goal was, again, to provide more awareness of Yule Fest, but then also to tie it to culture and history. Overall, this had, in 12 days, 41,000 impressions and 451 engagements. Again, this was all organic. And then throughout, we started a new hashtag called Deck the Danish. And the idea being here that we know everything comes to life in Solvang, and many of the businesses, thanks to the chamber, have a Christmas tree in their business that they light up. And so, you often think of Deck the Halls, but our goal was to encourage people, both businesses and visitors, to share photos using this hashtag. And so this is, I think, a big opportunity for us going into next Yule Fest to partner with businesses in the chamber to help increase conversation around this hashtag. I already talked about some of our biggest opportunities, suggestions for Yule Fest next year. Public relations, in the few months of Yule Fest, we had over we had 24 media placements, which is very high. That's 24 news stories, both regionally and nationally, that included Solvang and Yulefest as a must-visit location for the holidays. So we were very impressed by that. We had a lot of media interviews with Cheryl. We were able to share lots of photos. Overall, those 24 media placements had a reach of 8.2 billion. And of those 24, 18 were national. So this is great coverage. A lot of these, if you had to buy ads in a lot of these, it would be very expensive. So this is all in your packet, so I'll scroll through quickly. This is an opportunity where we pitched, again, Visit California, and they included this in their blog about California and fun things to do during the holidays. You'll see as we get closer, we had Fox 11, the Los Angeles Times covered us in a story, and then they also included us in a newsletter. And the newsletter was all dedicated to Yulefest, so that was great. And then you'll see we had multiple travel and leisure placements, highlighting both the architecture, the unique history of Solvang, the events, and then Yulefest overall. I'll keep going through. USA 10 Best included Yulefest.
Can you go back for a second to the one where it looked like you had, I don't know what the number was, maybe one more back, I think. There was one where you had this one. So this is 3.5 billion reach. Is that true?
Yes.
Okay.
That is the estimate provided by media tracking platforms as far as how many people read and go to Yahoo Live.
Okay, not to this article specifically, I guess.
Unfortunately, I would love if Yahoo gave us access to their Google Analytics so I could see how many people directly read the story, but we don't have access to that. So the industry standard for reporting PR is to use media tracking softwares that report on the total reach of the websites. So that's what we report on.
Okay, that's fine. I just want to understand where such a big number was coming from. Just 'cause
Yeah.
It's pretty astonishing to see that.
It is a large number, yes. Okay. Thrillist covered us. MSN covered us. So that was great to see. So those were some of those highlighted PR placements. And then creative, our team worked closely with Cheryl to develop a few different collateral pieces. We also worked with the TAC early last fall. We had a few different options for the Yulefest logo and design, and the TAC provided feedback on some of the font as well as coloring. So those were updated, and that branding was used in collateral pieces such as a calendar for the visitor center, a rack card, kind of a front and back poster that could be used as well. Additionally, a Yulefest landing page was created, again, so that anyone who was seeing an advertisement about this or locally could be directed to this page where there was information about all of the different events and then a call to action to book their stay at the bottom as well. The paid media overview. Again, this is reporting on the efforts for Yulefest, which ran from mid-November through the end of the year and the first week of January. Overall, there were 1.5 million impressions and 3,500 clicks. SEM had the highest click-through rate of 23.62%. The travel industry click-through rate is 4.68%. So this is much higher than the industry standard. We spoke about Pinterest a little bit already. The Pinterest ad had a click-through rate of 0.17. It had 18,000 views of it. Again, the industry standard there is 0.2, so slightly under. Display, again, as covered before a little bit, was the lowest click-through rate, which is 0.07. That is lower than 0.47. That being said, again, our goal was focused on awareness, and so we did have 1.4 million impressions. Those numbers are all showed here in this graph. And then here is just a brief focus on those ads. We also ran one print publication with LA Weekly, which was both in their email send and then in their print and online publication. That was a very targeted ad spend focused on our LA market. You'll see here that overall the email was delivered to 117,000 people, 31,000 people opened it, and an open rate of 26.49%.
What is your goal for that open rate? What was your goal?
This is LA Weekly, so their goal, I can ask what their goal is. I don't know what their goal is. We had expected when we purchased this about a 20 to 25% open rate. Web analytics, for this time, this is focusing on people who went to Solvang Fest or Solvang USA during the time of mid-November through the first week of January. Overall, our ads did drive traffic there. There's a lot of organic traffic that comes to the site as well. So they're on those two sites, Solvang UFest and Solvang USA. There was 128,000 users. Of those users, there was 162,000 total sessions. The bounce rate was 54.66. In general, people visited 2.59 pages while they were on the site, and then the average session duration was just under 2 minutes. As we talked about before and going through this, overall, moving into next year, we would like to set up our campaigns so that we have both awareness campaigns as well as click-through rate campaigns, because we do know that driving website traffic is very important. And then overall, we would like to continue to work on the website so that individuals who are coming from our paid ads are having the best website experience possible, because our goal again is to decrease the bounce rate and then make sure that they have as much time on page as needed. At the end of each of our reports, we always include a glossary of terms because some of this I know can be marketing jargon, so we do our best to explain it, but you'll see here at the end we also define each of the terms that we report on.
Thank you,
And
Connie. Any questions, comments from the members? Nope. Members from the public? All right. Thank you, Connie.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to 4D. To receive a report from Solvang, and I'm going to try to get it right. Hug?
You can try.
I have to just get it sound. Is it Hug?
It's Huga.
Huga. And there are extra printed copies of her report out at the table if anybody wants one.
Well, hello, TAC committee. I'm glad to be here again. Cheryl asked me to come today and just kind of reintroduce myself to you all, since we do have a new committee. Just kind of tell you a little bit about what we do at the Visitors Center too. My name is Susan Lee. I'm also a Klitgaard. In Danish it's Klitgård. My company's name is Solvang Huset, which means Solvang Little House in Danish. So I thought that was appropriate for the Visitor Center. We do have 5 members on the team. We have 4 that work in the Visitor Center. That includes myself. And we have myself, my sister Kirsten. She also works at the Elverhøj Museum. And my dad, Dean Klitgaard, who most of you know. And then we have Jeannie, and she has actually worked for the Visitors Center, I think at the Visitors Center for over, I think it's almost 6 years now. She worked for the Visitors Bureau, she worked for Cogs and Marble, and now, and she also worked for Brenda, who also worked at the Visitors Bureau and the Visitors Center. And now she's working with us, and so she's a great asset as well. And then we have my niece Michaela. She's works in the background with me, and she's here today with me too. So we have a great little team. We're small, but we're mighty, I think, and we love what we do. So basically, if you don't know, I'm sure most of you do, but the Visitor Center, it's on Copenhagen Drive. It's 1639. Little cute place. That's why we call it the small cozy house. And we are basically the first face for Solvang for many visitors. Now, of course, not for all of them, but for many. So our main job is to be there to help in whatever capacity we can when people come to Solvang. They have questions, they have concerns, usually just they want to know what to do when they get here is the biggest thing. So, but what we do in there for numbers, like we can't keep too many stats, but we like to know how many visitors we get every day. And I would love to be able to look back. We did have years of these stats with the Visitors Bureau. I don't have access to those numbers, but I do recall some of the things from last year. The numbers that I have given you for the monthly count sheet, which is the top sheet on your papers that I've submitted, they are from when we started with the Solvang Huset contract in July up till December, through December. So you can kind of look at the numbers there. The December was really good, 13,881. I do believe even without having being able to look at the past years, I do know last year, because I was working in the Visitors Center at the time for Cogs and Marble, we were about 10,000. I don't know the exact number, but I remember we were at around 10,000. So we actually did a little bit better this year. So this, I believe, is a new record for the Visitors Center. That's a lot of people in 1 month. So we're doing like over 100 people essentially an hour in there during December, which is really great. And it makes it crazy and fun and wonderful. And then so the day after Christmas, you can see this year was the busiest day in the Visitor Center. We had over 1,000 people, 1,024 people in the Visitor Center that day, which is quite a few to move through. We try very hard, like if we have people who have time to talk to us and give us answers, we like to ask where they're visiting from. On the back page, or the back sheet of my little report here, I've given the countries we jot down where some of the countries are that the people have been through, but we don't, when we get that many people, we don't have a lot of time to get a lot of data, but we do the best we can. We do make sure we are constantly writing down how many people walk through the door. We also, just so you do know, we do count how many people even come and get a visitor guide because they are using the Visitor Center. So I don't have this number, exact, but I know when I worked for the Visitors Bureau, We used to estimate that for every person that came in the visitor center, there was maybe approximately 50 visitors in Solvang. So it kind of gives you a little bit of insight into how many people, are here. Obviously, July and December are always usually our two busiest months in the visitors. And then, if you want to turn to the next page, I just wanted to talk a little bit about what we did. Besides, we help people in the visitor center. We're answering their questions. We give them maps. We tell them, anything they want to know, where they can eat, where they can shop, where they can find chocolate, all of the above. And we also very much were involved in EulaFest this year. I did volunteer to help with EulaFest any way we could. I also did personally helped with the tree lighting ceremony on the EulaFest committee, and that was so much fun. We had a great committee. But as far as the visitor center went, we were in charge of the scavenger hunt. And we did collaborate with Cheryl, with the city, in putting together the whole hunt. But myself, the visitor center members, and my family, we did write the clues for the scavenger hunt. And the city did print 2,000 clue sheets. And by the time we ended EulaFest on the last day, we had 3 of those 2,000 sheets left. So we had a lot of people out doing the hunt. And then we also had 2,000 Nisa doll ornaments. If you didn't see them, they're little ornaments about this big. They're very cute. If people finished their hunt, they would come back and show us all the pictures they took of the little Nisa dolls that they found. And we would give them their prize. And we gave each person a prize. They absolutely loved it. It was so much fun. We did just to see. So in the last couple years with Hogs and Marble, they did the Nisa scavenger hunt. Well, Nisa is, just so you know, Nisa is one Danish Christmas elf. Nisser is multiple. But we did pull people who said they had done the hunt in the last couple years with the QR code. This year, we just used a paper clue sheet that they came in and got. And then the last couple years, they did QR codes, which, work a lot differently. But we wanted to see what people like just to see for future going ahead, because people they want to keep coming back for the hunt. And we pulled 200. It was the number I wanted to get to if people had done it before. And so out of 200, 196 told us that they loved doing it this old school way with the papers. They loved having the little clue sheet that they could take home and put in their little scrapbooks. And and then we had 4, I believe they were 4 teenagers that told us that they liked the QR codes better. And we asked them a little bit why too. I didn't add that on here. I just asked a few people, what do you like better about this? The consensus was kind of they just kind of liked being in Solvang and putting their phone down for a little bit and just having a regular good old family experience without the electric devices. And so the QR codes, they're nice. They're easy, but paper, people just loved it. I don't know, it's interesting. And they also said that with the QR code, you had to follow in order, and you had to get the clue to get the next QR code next. And this way they could kind of run around town and just take their paper, and if they saw a Nisa, elf in the window, they could be like, oh, this is this one, this goes with this clue. So they really enjoyed this the old school way, I think. And sometimes Solvang, we have both. We have the modern and the old school, and I think they mesh really well. So that was a lot of fun. That's an honor to be able to help with that. I love that. And then the other thing that during EulaFest that the Visitor Center helped with, and my team, were the candlelight tours, which we have done in the past. They're very, very successful. They are almost too successful for how small our team is. We're actually Trying to figure out a way to be able to do more of them is the only thing. We always want to improve, but that's the main thing. They sold out very quickly. We put them on Eventbrite, and then Cheryl and the Abbey agency, I'm not sure who exactly, but added the link to the EulaFest site. And I think we were sold out completely in 2 weeks. Do you think, Michaela? Was it 2 or 3? The first week, almost in the first week, but we had a couple dates that were left. We did six nights of tours. We it was like all through the weekends of EulaFest, but we did not compete with the other main events. So we didn't want to have it on the same night, obviously, as like the tree lighting ceremony or the nativity spectacular, which unfortunately got rained out, but we probably would have been rained out too. So, but we just, we didn't want to compete with those events. So that's always a great event, and it's really popular. If you don't know what we do, we dress in costume. It's usually my sister and my father that take them out. I'm in the visitor center helping check people in, as well as Jeannie, because we usually need 2 in there. And then they take the group on a historical tour with candlelights, and they do caroling, and we showcase the businesses, and we try to make sure if we can't go by all of them, we talk about all the places there are in Solvang, the different areas. We use baked goods from all the bakeries, so it's a lot of fun. People really enjoy that. It's a very intimate, wonderful experience during the Christmas time. And then the other thing in your report is the questions that we get at the visitor center. These obviously, with as many questions as we get, these aren't all of them, but these are ones that we're writing down. Sometimes different ones. We get the same ones a lot too, but we get asked a lot of unique things, a lot of varied things that you'd be like, yeah, obviously you're going to get asked that, but some of them are very interesting. I put the top 5 things. We kind of mark, okay, these are the things we get asked a lot, and I asked my team, too, what is the most things you get asked? Always the must-sees in Solvang, and they want to know just basically what are we going to do when we get here, and it could be we have an hour, it could be we have 2 hours, what can we do, or we're going to be here a week. But they always want to know what they should do. They always want maps of the city. They also want maps of even sometimes of California, which we do provide. We have some of those in there. And of course we have the visitor guide in there, which comes from Visit SYV, and that is our main reference for everyone. It has a wonderful map of Solvang in there. Also has a wonderful map of the whole valley with the wineries in it, and it has the wine glasses on there so you can see where all the wineries are. A lot of times people just want a one-pager, so we do provide that as well. Now we have a cute little map that we have so that when people I just want a one-pager map. Then we have, of course, where's the closest bathroom, and fortunately it's pretty close to the visitor center. We even know I believe it's 150 feet for men and 175 for women. So the women have to walk a tiny bit farther. And then it is interesting how many people do ask where the trolley is and where to get the tickets for the trolley. They love the trolley. So we actually we got so many during Christmas, I finally put a sign on the counter just to help people so they don't have to wait so long to find that out. But that is one of the top questions. And then, of course, people always want to know the history of Solvang. Why is it like this? Why is it Danish? Why do the buildings look like this? And that's always fun to share that information with everyone. And I think it's so important, too, and that's the great thing about the Elverhøj Museum, the job they do, because when people find out that Solvang has a real Danish heritage and history, they see it through different eyes, than when they just think it's like a made-up town, like we just created this little Danish, place that looks Danish, and we have fabulous bakeries and pastry, but when they know it actually has Danish heritage and a great history, that makes you see it a little bit differently, and people really enjoy finding out those things. The other general questions I added in here for you all to look at if you're interested. You know, it's kind of fun to see the kinds of things that people ask. My sister and my father both play the accordion, and we actually get a lot of people that come in multiple times to ask where the little man is that plays the accordion. If he's not there, they love the accordion. You would love seeing that we have so many great stories of people coming in and they love to come in and dance to the accordion. You'd be surprised, the accordion, but you know, it's a loud instrument, but a lot of people do love it. And so that's one of the fun things that people do ask. And then people, obviously, they'll ask us what the weather's going to be like, you know, in 6 months from now. One of the funny things you probably all heard, we get asked, we still get asked, which is interesting, is what time Solvang opens. So people still sometimes think we have gates that open to the town, and that, you know, there's a set time for everything. I even got asked, I'm looking at this one here, it's funny. Someone came in and said, it was to me, because I remember it, she said, can you tell me where all the little colored houses are? And I kind of was like, the little colored houses, but we have this beautiful picture in the visitor center behind us of Alisal. And I said, is that what you're talking about, these buildings right here? And she said, yes. And obviously that was an easy one to give her. But they always ask us what the little houses are on the posts, and we like to tell them that's where the Nisa hide, or the Nisa hide their music. But those used to be, if you don't know, those used to be speakers, and they used to play music. We would love to get those working again. Actually, did talk about that at the ULAFest meeting, so that used to be really neat. But we love telling them there's little Nisa in there. We get a lot of questions, of course, about the holidays, about events, and obviously where the best chocolate is. So we get lots of great questions. So that gives you an idea a little bit about those. And then, like I said, I put on the back page some of the countries that we had written down that we had visitors from. Since in this time since my company had taken over the visitor center, and it was very interesting. I made a little note of there that we had a lot of Israelis during the summer, and I asked them about that, and they just said Israelis love to travel, and they said that since COVID was over, they're all getting out there and like. They come to California, and then they find out about this little Danish town, decide to come, and they just seem to really, really love it here. So that's always fun to meet people from all different places around the country, and we really, really feel blessed that we get to do that. And I brought in one more thing to share with you. This is the really good stuff. We just got this yesterday, and it's has my dad's name on it, Dean Kligbor. And it's actually, you can see, I won't read it all because it's a little bit lengthy actually, but this is the kind of stuff we love to hear feedback on. Then we know we're taking care of the people that come to Solvang. So it says, Dear Dean, and it's funny because people come in like, remember me, I came here 6 months ago, and you're like, yeah. But this one says, Dear Dean, I don't know if you remember us, but we were the couple who stopped into the tourist office on December 24th, and you let my husband play your accordion. And I have ancestry from Aalborg. So my family, my dad's family is from Aalborg. He calls it our sister city in Denmark. And they said, we really enjoyed meeting and talking with you. And they talked about like going to church and stuff, and personal stuff. And then they said, we hope you had a wonderful Christmas and a Happy New Year. You told us to visit the Bethania Lutheran Church, and we went there on Christmas Day, and it was very, very beautiful. We loved Solvang, and especially all the incredible people we met while we were there. It is a wonderful, wonderful town. And then they said, please write back if you'd like to. So I just wanted to share that with you. This is not the only one. We do get a lot of little thank you notes. We've even got pictures. People love to take pictures of especially my dad playing the accordion and video. And this is the good stuff. This is why we love doing this job and feel so, so blessed that we get to do it. Does anyone have any questions or comments for me? Yes.
The contract that we have with you, that includes you all staffing the visitor center, right?
Yes.
I'm a stickler, as you probably. I want to say that I was incredibly impressed with the performance that you guys have had this far. I did send a couple of groups in that I do personally. The reception that they got and the information, it was so welcoming that they felt. The fact that they had the physical cards for the scavenger hunt. My office is directly across from the post office, so many times I had people stop me to ask for help in trying to figure out the clues, and I thought it was absolutely wonderful to be able to engage in that regard. I love the fact that you really were cognizant of looking at whether the QR codes or the physical copies was more beneficial, and having those two options available. I love that initiative. The fact that you were keeping track of the questions that were asked, those common questions, being inclusive of the other businesses when you were looking at your tours, and the collaborative nature of trying to figure out how to improve upon this for the town as a whole. And then with the energy and enthusiasm that you have expressed, I was truly blown away, and I think you guys have done a terrific job. And thank you for all you do.
Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. We truly do feel blessed to get to do this.
You can tell.
It's a wonderful job. We have a lot of people that come in and say, I was decorating the Christmas tree actually outside the visitor center, and this lady came by and just stopped and talked to me for a little bit, and she said, you have the best job ever. She's like, you get to be in this little town, this beautiful place, and you get to decorate here and decorate a tree out here. She said, you are so lucky, and I totally agree. We are so blessed, and I appreciate that a lot because we have a lot of passion for what we do.
I would like to make one suggestion for consideration. Something I thought would be really cool, especially with the scavenger hunt, is if we created our own dollars that was similar to, I don't want to say the word of what they call it, and the what's the term for the money?
The year.
No, it was a special term when I was on the site, some nickname that they gave it.
The Nice Adventure?
It was, I don't know if it was a made up term or something, but anyways, it would be really cute that for the kids when they finish, that they got special Solvang bucks or something like that. And I just think it'll be a fun initiative for them, and it could be a souvenir. And also something too, that if you kind of do bucks that they could possibly exchange for real dollars, then just like when you go to another country, you don't realize how much money you're spending because it seems like play money. So that's something that could be of great benefit to businesses, and then they would just go and exchange it for real dollars. But it would allow the children to have their own spending currency.
That's very cute.
And us to be able to track how much of that is sold. So
yeah, I made a little note of that. That's very cute. We actually, the first year we did it, we gave buttons that said, I found the Nieser. But we also gave a paper certificate that we actually signed in front of them, like it was signed by one of the visitor center people, but we actually put, I think, a cute name on there. It's like the EulaFest, ambassador, because we call ourselves the ambassadors at the visitor center, the people who work in there. And people loved, I thought it was silly, but people loved getting that piece of paper that said they found it and we signed it. So I'm sure they would love getting a little piece of paper that's like money. That would be awesome. So yeah, I think that's a great idea. I made a note of that, and I will put that in the UFS notes for next time. Anybody else?
Yeah, congratulations on the great tree lighting.
Thank
evening.
you.
You and your dad were such a great host there.
Thank you.
And I know you had to step up the plate because you couldn't get anybody to
Yeah.
do it, and you did a great job.
Thank you
I
so
think
much.
that was one of the best. And I want to compliment whoever decorated the gazebo. They did a great job. It was the best that it ever looked.
That's very
Because it
good.
was looking pretty tired there for a while. And it really just,
Yeah.
it was great.
Good. We'll make a note of that, right, Cheryl? We'll let them know. That was the same group that did the lights and the audio for tree lighting too, and they were amazing. They did a fantastic job. And we actually also, Cheryl told us that we heard back like from the city workers too, saying that they were really good to work with. And so we're hoping we get to keep them. And I appreciate that. The tree lighting ceremony was so much fun and so amazing too.
And the
So
tree looked beautiful.
it did, and it lit on time, right? The first time, we know we had a little trouble, but it went really well. So yeah, I'm really pleased with
It's
it.
been growing. It's grown a couple.
Yeah,
feet
it
since
is.
we
It's
planted
getting
it.
really big. It looks wonderful, and they did a great job with
It's
the
really happy.
Good. I'm really happy to hear that because it was a lot of work, but it's so worth it. Just so lucky to be here. So thank you all for giving us the opportunity to work for Solvang.
Thank you for your dedication.
I love it.
Thank you. Any comments from the public regarding the visitor center? No. All right, moving on to item 4E. So did you guys know we have an old website? Have you heard? So basically the website was taken over by the city in the Solvang USA website in 2015 with the funding of the Solvang Convention and Visitors Bureau. And you could have heard many times the difficulties that we've been having updating, making it fresh. It's just a lot of pages that have, they had the Film Alliance on there, which we're no longer members of. So just a lot of old information, and it's very daunting to kind of think to have to go through all that. So I started making changes, but then as you heard from Connie, as we were transferring files, things weren't sticking. So then that was even more frustrating of spending the time and then having all those changes go away. So I do not have funds in my own marketing budget, so I'm looking to you guys to see if you think it'd be worthwhile to make a recommendation to City Council for a new Solvang USA website. I did pull just some numbers quickly from comparing our website to some other visitors. I know it's probably hard to read, so let me know. But just showing that it is a valuable tool, people are visiting it, and eyes are on it. And that's why I feel like it's important to get a new site. Some other stats I just pulled, I know it's come up in previous meetings, but before booking travel, people visit 38 websites. So having a destination website be one of those is really important. But they do visit multiple sites. So it's not just you go there and it says, but we have to tell the story accurately about Solvang. And to do that, I feel like we need a new tool. So that is my staff report. Are there any questions or comments from the members?
Are you putting an RFP out then?
Yes, yeah. So this would just if I don't want to spend the time going through RFP or web companies wasting their time, I did do a lot of research, asked a lot of people for initial funds. That's why I made the recommendation. I think we can make a very decent, good site between 40,000 to 75,000 is my recommendation. Happy to talk about that, but yes, that would just to get, yes, you can go to an RFP process. So I would absolutely go through that.
And would it be the same as us? They would come and do a presentation, a proposal?
I believe, yeah, we would share the RFPs, we'd probably do some vetting, but yeah, it's all public information. So yeah, everybody would have access to all the RFPs, so.
Right, and then it would come to the TAC.
I believe so, yes, yeah.
I'll make a motion for that, to move forward with that to the city.
Oh, yeah, so first of all, we do have public comment. I do have a speaker slip, so if there are no other questions from the members, let's go to the public. And Brenda, if you want to come on up.
I'm Brenda Ball, and most of you know me. And I'd like to say it's an honor to address you this afternoon. Thank you, Ms. Schallenberger and Mrs. Porter and the Tourism Action Committee, Advisory Committee for this opportunity to speak. And since I'm older than most of you, you may be wondering why I'm up here about a website and why am I sharing information about information technology. Well, that happens to be my career, and I am very actively still pursuing it. I started in the 1980s with an Apple IIc. I wrote the computer literacy program for junior high and high school students and taught the Microsoft suite to them in the 80s. And then I actually was the administrator for a private school for 13 years. And in the 1990s, I decided that I wanted to go another direction. So I took some college level courses in multimedia. And Allen Hancock College hired me. That was when the distance learning programs were just first going online, so the faculty didn't have a clue of how to put those online. So they hired me to train the faculty to post those things online. That was half of my job. The other half of my job was managing the Allen Hancock College website. Excuse me. I believe in lifelong learning. I have 130 certificates from LinkedIn Learning and from lynda.com. And those certificates are in digital marketing, responsive web design, database management, Google Analytics, WordPress, HTML, CSS, SEO, Photoshop, InDesign, Adobe Acrobat, Excel, and on and on and on. And I'm currently enrolled in 20 classes in LinkedIn Learning. For the Solvang CVB, I was the operations manager and digital marketing director for 14 years. Some of my responsibilities included managing online customer relations management, the CRM, and the content management system, the CMS, for solvingusa.com, the website, and developing the e-newsletter. In mid-2013, we began the process of developing a new website. We did a ton of research for 3 months, and then I wrote the RFP, including the necessity for a creative brief, the target audience and the persona definitions, and analytics, and the reporting requirements for the new Solvang USA. We received a dozen proposals. We selected 3 of those and had those come for interviews and for presentation.
Brenda, we're at 3 minutes, if you can wrap it up.
Okay, I have 3 more little paragraphs. The winner was chosen by the end of, well, the date doesn't matter. Using website management, digital marketing, SEO skills, I grew solvingusa.com website into a robust, competitive website. It had the largest number of visits when I left of any tourism website in the Valley, in Santa Maria, and in Lompoc. We were only surpassed by Visit Santa Barbara. And while it has largely been, the website, Solvang USA, has been largely unmanaged since July of 2019. The Solvang USA website continues to benefit from the digital marketing efforts and the SEO efforts that I put in place. The website is still being visited, as we heard, and it's just waiting to be handled skillfully and updated. And I thank you for your time.
Thank you, Brenda. Anyone else in the public? Oh, no, yeah, thank you. Any motions?
Okay, can I make the motion there to put forth that to the council, for you to go ahead and do the RFP? But I would like to, with the caveat that when the proposals do come back, that the TAC will review them as well.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
I would like, oh,
Who's gonna write the RFP, can I ask?
I mean, I have a community that I've actually pulled some already to look at review. So,
So it won't come back to here for us to review?
I mean, I can if you would like me to.
I just don't know how fast, that's all, yes.
I mean,
You have
first it
done
has to even be approved by council, so if I can keep working on it, but if they're quick to, if I'm approval, then yeah,
Okay.
I can share it, absolutely. Yeah. Great, all right, meeting adjourned,
Oh,
thank you
wait.
everyone. Oh,
one more
oh
motion.
yeah, oh sorry, I need to go through, I apologize.
I'd like to put a motion forward that for the next meeting, we discuss, taking a look at the budget because, Abby does come up for, I think, renewal. It's a 2-year contract in July. I would like to have Cheryl, put forth the budget of what that would look like if she took on some of the things that we're paying for through Abby. I would like, for her to present a budget to the next meeting, as to, her efforts in having some of that money go under her position.
I'll second that.
As a correction, their contract is through June 24th.
Yeah, and they told me, from what I understood, it's a 30-day cancellation provision, and right now or something, it's contracted for a year. I don't have my phone. My daughter, you saw her take that, but something comes up in July. What was that? It started in July.
For the plan, like the marketing plan for the 2023-2024 would then be reviewed at
Okay.
that point.
Got it.
So when you say review the budget, the Abby agency budget, you want to review?
So I guess my official motion is at the next meeting, I would like for you to present a budget if we were to take the money that we're paying Abby. Their budget is, we're paying them $300,000 a year. I would like to see what you would do with that money and what you would still want to source out.
I'll say, when we had Constant Marvel and IDK, we looked at their budgets. And I think what she's asking, maybe what I'm hearing is that maybe we take a look at the budget. I think from everything I've heard today, maybe as we take a look at the budget of what they've spent, what they've done, look at the contract, look at what their proposal was at their, yes, this is what we're gonna do, but maybe that's what we do a little digging of where we're at, so they're more prepared too, and they know that they're being held accountable maybe.
Okay.
But I'd also like to see the TOT.
Tracy, I think that's a separate motion. It's two separate motions. You're going to present one on your own, because right now, Cheryl, you don't have a budget, right?
It's tied up between the Abby agency, the Visitor Center, and Yule Fest, and those are
right. But you don't have money under yourself. So my proposal, the motion I'm putting forward, is that Cheryl present a budget in which what we're paying toward the Abby agency goes under her umbrella. So I would like to see the breakdown of what she would be doing in her office in the capacity of oversight over some funds and what she would still outsource. So that's my motion.
And I would second that.
So you're saying bring the marketing in-house?
Yes.
And she could choose to outsource what she feels is necessary.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry, Cheryl.
So is
Not
there, all in favor?
Any opposed? Motion passes 7-0.
Then I think, Tracy, you wanted really an audit of where they are, right?
I think us to have an audit kind of where they're at, and I think we've seen that before previously, just to look at numbers of what they're actually spending. They gave us a lot of really great things that they're doing, but we need to have it and we did ask that from Cogs and Marvel and IDK to really give us those kind of spreadsheets where they're at on the quarters, and I think they have a quarter. So that is one of the things I want, and I have something.
And I've kind of been doing my own ongoing audit
Right.
of their funds, so yeah, we can easily share that for the next TAC
Right.
and review it.
Good.
And then I think the next thing I'd like to
So
see.
is that a second?
Oh, okay.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 7-0.
And then I think we'd like to see the TOT stays, whatever you have available to you. think you probably will have December come the next meeting in January. But if you can break it down from weekend to Sunday through Thursday, if that's a possibility, that would be nice to see where the growth is or what needs to be done midweek. Because Shelby has this nice midweek plan, and how are we gonna partner on this midweek plan? And other organizations have done other things where they've given away $100 gift card to spend in the zip code if you have, instead of a third night, or wine tasting and bring your receipts in to the first 100 people, which is it's kind of interesting, but at the same time, Santa Maria had great success on a marketing plan from Sunday through Thursday, 2 nights stay. The third night, you got a hotel and a gift card. Okay.
Second motion. Wait a minute, what is the motion?
I would like to see, I want to see the
Just to
TOT.
see the TOT.
I want to see the TOT, but I want to see it broken down, just so we can look at it
Down.
and try to help you guys make some marketing, better decisions on with that.
And is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 7-0.
I have another motion, is I would like for Abby to come back and thoroughly answer all questions that were posed today. So I would like a presentation hitting upon everything that we went over today. And I would also like for us to have a discussion as to whether we feel we should move forward with retaining them as a marketing company. So I don't know if that's just one motion.
Second.
That is to.
Do I need to do two separate motions?
Yeah, those
Okay,
are very
okay.
distinct.
First motion is I would like for the Abbey Agency to come back and have a presentation. I'm not sure if we can give them a certain amount of time that we needed before so we can have adequate review. But I would like for all questions posed to be answered within that presentation with numbers ready to go, or someone who's able to answer any questions we pose at that meeting to clarify those numbers.
Is there a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? 7-0.
And the second motion is I would like for us to put on the agenda discussion as to whether we shall choose to retain, suggestion to retain Abby as the marketing agency based upon the performance thus far at the next meeting.
Second?
A second. Does that mean you're gonna bring their contract to us? Can I ask that question, or is that separate now?
Their contract is on,
It's on the website.
Yeah.
I've seen it, yeah. So I guess the question is, can everybody have a copy, or?
it's public record, anybody
Okay,
and everybody.
okay. Okay, thank you.
You can
The
email
only
it.
thing I'm gonna just say is I don't know if we're combining all this in my seat. So it's kind of fast tracking and everyone's just getting used to each other here. I just don't know if we could do all of those things. That last one, I'm just thinking we need probably another 30 days.
My
Just
concern is that
Okay.
we're gonna be in March and then they're up in July, so we'll be heading into March. If we waited, it would be April, especially if they're going to be doing a photo session and we're paying them for the content of $10,000. I don't know, whatever you think is best.
Well, I'd like to see the information. I mean, it smelled bad already today, so
I was not pleased.
I guess go ahead.
We've already had a
Someone
motion, a
seconds it.
second.
It's on the floor, right?
Yeah, so,
So it's been seconded.
yeah, so all in favor?
Any opposed? 7-0.
Committee member comments.
Yeah, I'll make a comment. I think the visitor center is well run. I think that they were the right team for the job, and even though I had my reservations at first, which you probably heard about, I am pleased that I was overruled because I think that they came and they proved themselves, and we are very fortunate to have them. With the Abbey Agency, I will say I was expecting a lot, and I wanted to see a lot more. I think that we are paying a significant amount of money, and I think that I'm a person, I don't like to hear excuses. I want to hear solutions, and I want you to be ready to go when you come and present. Yes, I have a background in this, but you are the experts and we are paying for this. So I expect that any possible question that we have, that you are ready to go with that data. Even if you don't need it, it's better to be over-prepared than under. And I would have liked to have also heard from Allie, since she's the day-to-day person for this marketing contract. I think that if Connie was not versed in certain things, I think Allie should have been able to jump in there and give us the information that we needed, since she's more familiar with the day-to-day operation of our contract. And I would like to see a better performance moving forward.
Any other comments from the members? Nope. I just have two quick things I wanted to add. Visit California put out a LA media mission in May. Tracy did see it as well, reached out to me. I do think their media missions are very excellent, well attended. They vet their journalists. So of course I don't have the money to go, so we're looking through to see what we can do and work some of that from the Abbey agency and take some of those funds to go to the media mission. The deadline I do believe is tomorrow, so I'll connect with them to see if we can still at least just submit, just for best case scenario. And their photographer that they hired for March, I have to say I'm very, very excited. I did not know this gentleman. He's in Santa Barbara County, so he's local and his pictures are stunning. So I'm very, very excited that the photographer hopefully will be coming out. So that is it. We are adjourned, 6:19.